everyone. Welcome to EPGP Podcast series. Here we are today to discuss about various perspectives of 1 year full-time MBA to peer learning to other various perspectives about EPGP program. We have our Honorable Director Professor Himanshu Rai sir with us. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here with us today, sharing your valuable knowledge and experiences with us. Since we are all from 1 year EPGP program, and since also 1 year full-time MBA is gaining traction throughout the world, the working professionals come back to the college and do their rigorous 1 year MBA here, enhancing their leadership skills and management skills. So the podcast first question will start around the EPGP and 1 year program. This year's EPGP batch is the largest batch in terms of program's history. So what kind of qualities or innovations do you see emerging from this cohort? And also, how do you believe that this cohort will shape the future of IIM Indore's reputation?
So, first of all, EPGP has been an essential part of our entire offering of the academic programs. And this year, we were delighted to get a larger cohort with such a diverse background. So I think the biggest strength of this 1 year MBA program is that you don't lose out on the opportunity cost since you finish the MBA within a year.
Correct.
You come from work and you don't spend much time before going back to work again. And therefore, very quickly in this intensive curriculum that you have of a year, you can actually build on your practical experience and then go to another world, whatever it is that you choose for yourself in terms of the career aspirations that you may have. And I think when you have a bigger batch, there are two big advantages. One is that the learning from the peer group increases because you have such a diverse background peer group, you have people from all kinds of industries, and once they start contributing in the classroom, because the kind of pedagogy that we use at IIM Indore, there's a lot of classroom discussion, and everyone gets an opportunity to learn from each other. So that is the first big advantage. And the second big advantage is that when the industry looks at a larger batch, they look at it as having more potential and more opportunities for them to choose from. So if you have a smaller batch, then the industry doesn't have much choice when they come to recruit students. And therefore, I think this batch is going to do very well because of the kind of a background that they have. This batch is going to do very well because of the diversity that they have. And this batch is going to do very well because of the kind of the economic status that we have currently. For example, our Global Masters program has been consistently ranked amongst the top FT 100. And I think this batch is going to go a long way in making sure that our rankings also improve.
Definitely, sir. Absolutely. Agree with all the points. And we are looking forward for all these things. So lately, there has been many advancements in AI and emerging technologies. So I would like to talk few words about in that cohort. In the recent times, in the AI advancements and emerging technologies, how is IIM Indore adopting to prepare the students to handle the future challenges in that perspective? And also, what kind of innovations and changes are we incorporating in our course curriculum or the projects here so that the students handle those kind of steps that are going to come in the future generations?
So artificial intelligence and machine learning have been a part of our curriculum for a while now. But given the kind of advancements in the technology and given the kind of rapid advancements, particularly in AI and particularly within AI in generative AI, we are trying to make sure that we stay ahead of the curve at IIM Indore. So IIM Indore, in fact, was the first institution to actually offer a PG diploma, a postgraduate diploma program in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we are bringing in elements of that into our flagship program, into EPGP. So that is number one. Number two, when we talk about generative AI, I think that's the one which is making a lot of waves and everyone is excited about it. And people are a little also, there is a little bit of a trepidation around it. And I've been speaking on many fora, and every time I'm asked this question, that is AI going to replace jobs? Is AI going to replace human beings? And my constant and consistent answer is that it's not AI which is going to replace human beings. It's people who know AI who are going to replace people who do not know AI. And therefore, I think AI is going to be an essential part of the curriculum, and it helps you in multiple ways. So starting right from actually curating data to actually generating and working and ideating upon a research problem. AI can be used in multiple ways. So at IIM Indore, we are trying to make it as an integral part of the course curriculum itself, and also trying to help students use AI with integrity, judiciously, and to make sure that they use it for idea generation as well as refinement of ideas. So there are going to be several very specific courses which are going to be built around AI itself.
It has been around 2 months since we all are here in EPGP, and it's wonderful. After very hectic schedule of classes, we come outside of the classroom and just we see the nature around us and the biodiversity around us. It's such a blissful experience and feeling, I would say. So, which actually brings me to the third question of our podcast. So, sustainability and social responsibility are becoming increasingly very important in business education. So, how is IIM Indore incorporating these values in the flagship programs, including EPGP?
So, multiple ways. One is that our mission statement itself talks about producing socially conscious leaders, managers, and entrepreneurs. And therefore, as a result, all our courses have elements of ESG, all our courses have elements of environment, all our courses have elements of ethics, which are inbuilt to it. So that is number one. Number two, if you look at the campus itself, now, the campus itself promotes engagement with nature. So, be it our organic farming, be it the gardens that we have created, be it the green spaces that we have created, be it the solar rooftop, be it water harvesting, be it the plastic-free nature of the campus. So, here is an opportunity for the students, and particularly the one-year MBA students, to actually come up with newer ideas. And one of the things that we do is we encourage people to experiment. We encourage people to come up with ideas. For example, one of our students previously came up with an idea which could help us save almost 50% of water by creating a machine which we could put on the tap, and thereby actually helping us in increasing our sustainability initiatives to a large extent. Now, likewise, I think with real-time engagement within the campus itself, with courses that are inbuilt into the EPGP curriculum, as well as when we do Industry Connect, when we take students out, we go to many of those places and many of those industries which are actually reducing their carbon footprint and taking active measures in making sure that their carbon footprints are reduced. So when people look at those practical experience, when people look at what's happening around them in the campus itself, I think several new ideas come out.
Definitely, sir. And I guess this would be an inspiration to outside world as well as the students that we incorporate. We live within the nature. So this is definitely inspiring from IIM Indore's side. Coming to my last question here. In your opinion, what kind of soft skills should a MBA graduate possess, and how can the business school incorporate the teachings of these skills in their course curriculum or projects?
So first of all, I'm not sure whether these are soft skills. I am not very comfortable with the terminology of hard skill versus soft skill. I would call this people skill versus technical skills. And I think people skills are extremely important. There was a conference of deans, and we were about 300 deans from all over the world who had congregated over, at a place. And we were deliberating on what are the kind of skill sets that the industry 5.0 would require in the post-fourth industrial revolution. What is the kind of skill sets that would be required by the industry? And obviously, those should be the skill set that we should be teaching and training students in these schools. And of the 10 odd skills that we spoke about, almost 6 were people skills. And therefore, I think those are extremely important. To my mind, on the top would be conflict management and negotiation. Conflict is an inevitable part of human existence, and therefore how to resolve a conflict in a way that all the concerned parties go back satisfied and go back thinking that their needs and concerns have been addressed is going to be one of the very important skills. The second is collaboration, including online collaboration, because there's although we are out of COVID, hopefully, there's still a lot of work which is happening in the online mode. There are still some verticals in several industries which are working from home, etc., etc. And therefore, when you are talking to people from across geographies, from across time zones in an online mode, how do you collaborate really? Correct. And how do you handle the complexities that arise out of it? I think that's another skill which is extremely important. And the third, I would say, which is an evergreen skill which is required, is that of communication. Absolutely. And the reason why I say this is that many people think of communication as something which comes naturally. No, communication has to be learned, and particularly kinesthetic communication, which means when your words, your actions, your body language, everything is in sync, and you have one message which is going out through all of these elements of communication, that becomes extremely important. So to me, these are three skills which are going to be primary.
And I just wanted to add the last point which you mentioned, the verbal and non-verbal communication. We actually had a course on that. So
Wonderful.
it's like incorporating those learnings in the course curriculum, and we are going to use that in our real life. So
And
that's
rest
really
assured, you'll have a course in negotiation as well.
definitely that would help us. We come to the most exciting part of the podcast, that is rapid fire.
Mhm.
So you can answer spontaneously, and what comes to your mind in the first place, you can answer that. So what are the must-read books for MBA students you suggest, and why?
Well, there are several must-read books for MBA students, and therefore I'm not going to talk about the stuff that they need to read in their curriculum, but the Arthashastra by Kautilya is
Correct.
one of the must-read books. And there are several books which do not talk directly about leadership, but I believe MBA students should read them because it helps them in actually exploring themselves. And one such book that I would strongly recommend is Siddharth by Hermann Hesse. And finally, I would urge all the MBA students to read a book called Beyond the Last Blue Mountain, which is a biography of J.R.E. Tata. So these would be the top three books.
So what is an advice that you would give to your younger self?
Continue being what you are. Don't change.
Got it. And biggest inspiration in education?
I've always been inspired by Bhagavad Gita, and irrespective of whether I talk about education, whether I talk about my personal life or the value system. So to me, even when it comes to education, Bhagavad Gita is my biggest inspiration, because not only does it tell you as to what your swadharma is, it also tells you as to how, by a particular of the three yogas that Bhagavad Gita talks about, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, the Jnana Yoga is about education. So that would be my biggest inspiration.
Absolutely, sir. And also, we definitely need to follow the karma yoga, especially here. Like, we need to keep in our efforts in education and the output that we get from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is the essential quality that you feel is very important for a business leader?
See, there are many essential qualities, but I think the most important quality that a business leader needs to have is integrity. And the reason why I say this is, you may get success because of a few things that you do right, because of the environmental factors, so on and so forth. But success would have longevity only if you have integrity, which means if you have a value system that you claim to espouse as an organization, you must make sure that not just your vision statement, but your behavior itself as a leader also is in line with that value system that you claim to espouse. So to me, that's the most important thing.
Since MBA is a program where it shapes the business leaders and management folks, there are many aspirants out there who are actually seeking out the kind of guidance that they want to enter into such a prestigious college like IIM Indore. So what kind of advice would you give for an MBA aspirant?
My first advice would be that make sure that you're coming for an MBA because you want to do it, and not because the rest of the world is going for an MBA, which means it should be in line with the dreams that you have set out for yourself, and it should be one of those milestones which takes you closer to the vision that you have for yourself. So that is one. Second, merely dreaming is not good enough. So you will have to put in that hard work which is required. And therefore, when you come to do an MBA program, whether it is to IIM Indore or whether it is to any institute that you go to, make sure that you take the best out of it. It's not merely about finishing the curriculum, passing the exams, getting a certificate and getting a job, but it's about actually learning and making sure that you're also applying that learning to your life and not just really to your job. So that would be my second advice. And my third advice to them would be that try to learn from everything that you see around you. Many a times people believe that these are the only people I can learn from, or these are the faculty from whom I can learn because this faculty has got this credential or that credential. No, you can learn from everybody. You can learn a lot from your peer group. Okay. You can learn a lot from the books that you have in the library. You can learn a lot from nature itself. You can learn from things around you. So make sure that you have immersed yourself and you have that innate curiosity to learn from everything. So these would be my three pieces of advice.
What is the most exciting trend in education you are seeing around?
I don't see something which is very novel so far as the trend in education is concerned. But I do see a lot of people who are interested in the concept of lifelong learning. And that I believe is truly exciting. I'm yet to kind of collect data on it. But by the very fact that the way executive education has grown in IIM Indore, we recently made it to the FT 100 rankings, ranked 61 in the world and number 3 amongst the IIMs. And forget the rankings, but what it also reflects is that there are more and more people who are interested in doing these programs, which means that people know that they have to kind of get their credentials right. They know that they have to keep themselves updated. And that to me is very exciting, that people are finally beginning to realize that they can't have a degree and then sleep over that degree for the next 10 years and do nothing and believe that they will continue to be relevant. So to be relevant today, you have to continuously update yourself. That's the exciting thing.
So just in continuation of this question, how do you stay updated? It's in the fast-moving world. How do you stay updated?
Well, I read like a maniac. That's one of the things. I go through a lot of stuff which is available online. I still am an active researcher. So I try to make sure that I know what's happening. And most importantly, I write. So when you write, you have to do a lot of research yourself. You have to ideate. You have to think about a lot of things. So by doing a combination of all these 4, I make sure that I'm updated.
We'll surely take a notes of all these points. What is one overrated and underrated leadership skill?
I think the one underrated leadership skill is perseverance. People don't realize how important perseverance is. I mean, they believe in putting in the hard work at one go and they believe that success would be theirs. No, success is about perseverance. Success is about grit. Success is about resilience, because many a times you may not be able to get what you have set out yourself for. But then if you persevere, you will eventually get it. So perseverance mixed with patience, that I think is one of the underrated skills. And I think more and more leaders need to identify with that skill. And I think the most overrated skill is command over the language. Many a times people mistake command over the language as communication, and they're two completely different things. They believe that if a person speaks a particular language very, very fluently, uses fancy words, the person is communicating very well, or the person has got excellent leadership qualities. No, not at all. Communication is a completely different ball game. Yes, if you have fluency in the language, it helps, but that's not a substitute for effective communication. So I would think that people should understand communication and not pay so much attention to the command over the language only.
Got it, sir. And the last important question where we all do need guidance in this perspective is, how do you balance your personal and professional life in such a hectic schedule?
So I'm perhaps not the right person to answer that question, because I don't have a personal life. So the boundaries of my personal and professional life have been largely blurred for a long time since I picked up administrative roles. But what works for me is mindfulness. And for example, if I'm here, then I'm not thinking about anything else, but I'm thinking about this podcast and the questions that you're asking me. My mind is completely occupied, reflecting on the questions that you have asked of me. Likewise, if I'm at work, I'm completely there. And if I'm with a friend, I'm completely there. I don't even look at my phone if I'm talking to a friend, or if I'm doing something which is personal. Like, for example, if I'm climbing a mountain, then I'm completely there in nature and with nature. So I'm not sure if I have managed to segregate my personal and professional life. In fact, I'm not even sure whether that's possible. But mindfulness and being in the here and now, I think that's what works for me.
Great. I guess that's really necessary for us to incorporate in our lives. That is like very big necessity. So that's it, sir. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your valuable inputs, knowledge, and experiences with us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
That was a lot of experience, knowledge, and valuable inputs that we have received from our director, Professor Himanshu Rai, sir. So hope you liked it. Stay tuned for more podcasts.